Hello everyone, welcome to Analog IAS Current Affair Analysis for 7th July 2020, and these are the articles we'll be dealing today. The first article for the day is taken from the Live Mint, and it is a very important issue which highlights that the pandemic will increase India's malnutrition burden. So it is in this context we have to know certain basics. We'll talk about Poshan Abhiyan first. So this particular scheme, Poshan Abhiyan, is a umbrella scheme, an all-encompassing scheme to deal with the challenge of India's nutrition. So this is actually carried out by Ministry of Women and Child Development. So it is in this context we have to know something called the National Nutrition Mission, which is the other name of Poshan Abhiyan. So there are certain targets. What are those targets and how are they in tune with the World Health Assembly targets for global level nutrition and welfare of children and women? So by 2025, the World Health Assembly has set a set of targets which are meant to be achieved by all the countries. Now when we are talking about Poshan Abhiyan, it is in alignment with these targets and also with the Sustainable Development Goals of 2030. However, adopting a framework which tries to attain these objectives will ensure that the progress towards Sustainable Development Goals is fast tracked. So, it is in this context we have to understand what UNICEF is trying to say. India also have a significant amount of malnourishment burden. So, this is already proven through various surveys like the National Family Health Survey Round 4. So we have as many as 38% of stunted and malnourished kids in our country. So it is in this context that this Poshan Abhiyan becomes very important, which talks about convergence. So when I say convergence, it means that we are trying to address the issue from all the possible angles. So what is the target of this Poshan Abhiyan? So the target of the mission is to bring down stunting among children in the age group of 0 to 6 years from the present 38% to 25% by 2022. This is again in tune with the as target set by the World Health Assembly in 2025. So Poshan Abhiyan aims to ensure service delivery, interventions by use of technology, behavioral change and convergence like we have just spoken about through specific targets. So it will use all the capacities and it is an all encompassing capacity. But what happened in this pandemic is the entire government workforce is focusing completely upon management of COVID. So other diseases like seasonal flus and the usual governance issues like addressing the challenge of poverty, malnourishment are taking a backseat. So it is a serious warning issued by UNICEF that if we don't invest our energy and time and at the same time all the financial resources required to handle this problem, we will be facing a larger threat. So it is in this context we have to remember that we have already taken a lot of loans to the tune of 200 millions from World Bank for implementing this National Nutrition Mission. So it is a time to introspect how to better utilize this funds for Poshan Abhiyan in this time of pandemic. That is the gist of this article. The next article for the day is taken from the Hindu. This is an article which tries to establish the links between climate change and how it will impact our health systems. So it is titled Before the Next Health Crisis. Now if you take a look at the present COVID-19 pandemic, our health resources are severely constrained. India spends roughly around 1.6% of GDP, and the kind of healthcare system that we have developed in our country, irrespective of the states, leaving a few exceptions like Kerala, Manipur, etc., most of our healthcare is focused upon tertiary care. Now, what is this tertiary care? Let me explain. So, at grassroots level, where small preventable diseases can be handled, primary healthcare centers come into picture. So, in in the entire country, we don't have proper number of primary healthcare centers to cater to the prescribed population as per the World Health Organization standards. So, as a result, what happened was most of the healthcare needs are delegated to district hospitals or even the big hospitals in cities where only specialized cases were meant to be addressed. But what happens is, even if there is a small issue like a snake bite, sometimes some villages have to travel as far as 150 kilometers to reach the district hospitals, and this will impact the kind of healthcare that this overburdened hospitals can deliver. So what is happening in this example of snake bite is, there is every possibility that the person might be killed within the time that he reaches the hospital, when a simple issue like a snake bite, which can be handled at a primary healthcare center, we are not doing that. So it is in this context we have to understand the kind of damage that climate change will do to our healthcare system. So recently there was a report from the journal called Lancet, which was talking about how we have to track progress on health and climate change. So it was titled Tracking Progress on Health and Climate Change Report, and it has recommended that Indian government must take a series of initiatives to mitigate the increased risk of health and loss of labor due to surge in exposure to heat wave events in the country across the period. So heat wave is probably closely linked to our climate change or anthropogenic activities. So this particular Lancet report tracked 41 indicators which spoke about how health and climate change are closely interlinked. There are three basic conclusions which are broadly arrived at. So it says that in the last 5 years, the average length of heat waves ranged from 3 to 4 days compared to a previous average of 0.8 to 1 day. So almost 153 billion hours of labor were lost in the year 2018 alone because of heat. So the present day changes in heat waves will impact labor's capacity, and it will also impact how vector-borne diseases will respond, and it would also ultimately impact food security as well. Now it is an imperative for the government to be ready to handle all such issues. So there is also an important finding in the report which says that a lack of progress in reducing greenhouse gas emissions has been one of the major reasons for this. We did not build enough adaptive capacity, and it has been threatening both human lives and viability of the national health systems. If we put things into context, imagine a scenario where a serious extreme climatic event strikes our country. Now, when we are not even in a situation to deal with a pandemic like this, where 80% to 90% of the cases are asymptomatic, imagine a situation where it impacts every single life. Imagine a cyclone or an earthquake or an extreme climatic event like a cyclone impacting a particular state. How will the government respond in such a scenario? Therefore, before the next health crisis hits us, it is an imperative for the government to increase its expenditure from the present 1.6% to, as envisaged in the National Health Policy 2017, to 2.5% of our GDP. That is the gist of this article. Now, extending this discussion from what is already mentioned in this article, what is important as per the National Health Policy's objectives is to spend this 2.5% of the GDP wisely. Now, a lot of journals and research papers establish that investment in the primary healthcare gives the maximum amount of returns with very little investment. Now, all our policy initiatives are again focused on tertiary care and building super hospitals, super specialty hospitals. But that should not be the criteria for delivering healthcare services to our general public. Considering the fact that 60 to 65% percentage of the population lives in villages, developing healthcare infrastructure, improving the number of healthcare professionals at grassroots levels should be the focus for all the governments across the states and the center. That is the gist of this article. Thank you.